Are the Ten Commandments still binding for Christians today? That's a good question, so let's talk about it. I'll tell you exactly what I think at the end of the video, so make sure you watch the whole thing. My name is Lisa Reynoso. I am a student of psychology and a mental health coach. Personally, I think both of these views miss the point. I grew up being taught that the law is a transcript of God's character. I was also taught that the law was the Ten Commandments. Now, I believe that most of the time when the law is referenced in the New Testament, it refers to the Ten Commandments. When Jesus, on the road to Emmaus, told the disciples about the prophecies that pointed to him, he referenced the law and the prophets and the Psalms. That pretty much covers the whole Old Testament. Obviously, law means more than just Exodus 20. But Jesus did something else with the law. Once someone asked him what the greatest commandment was, because apparently the Jews like to argue about that, Jesus asked him what he thought, and he said, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and your neighbor as yourself." Jesus said that was right. And Jesus said basically the same thing in another situation. And he added that on those two commandments, to love God and love your neighbor, all the law and the prophets hang. I like to think of them as two hooks where everything goes either on love to God or love to man. This is a very big topic, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. There's a lot of nuance I just don't have time for in this short video. Please understand that. So some people argue that the Ten Commandments were only given to the Jews. They might point to things like the Sabbath, or the fact that the 10th commandment implies ownership of women by their husbands. Others argue that they are still binding, although the application may vary. For example, some Christians believe in keeping Saturday as the Sabbath, while other Christians apply the fourth commandment, third if you're Catholic, to Sunday, and very few keep it strictly for a full 24 hours. If you look at the Ten Commandments, you can easily see that the first four talk about our love to God, and the last six talk about our love to man. That is pretty basic and generally accepted by Christians, I think. In John 14, Jesus said that he gave a new commandment, that we should love one another. In Matthew 5, Jesus said that he didn't come to destroy the law, but to fulfill it. And then he went on to talk about how the law isn't just about outward actions, but rather about heart motives. So here's what I actually believe about the Ten Commandments. I believe that the principles of those commandments still apply, but they need to be interpreted in the light of agape love. For example, the commandment that says not to bear false witness is generally interpreted as not lying. But if you have Jews in your basement during World War II, I think lying to the Gestapo is the most loving thing that you can do. Personally, I still keep the Sabbath because it is a weekly reminder that my salvation is based on the finished work of Christ, and I can rest from my own works as God did from his. I still believe Sabbath is a gift, and I think that God wants us to observe it not as a demonstration of obedience, but rather as a blessing to us. Jesus said Sabbath was made for man and not man for the Sabbath, after all. Some Christians will not agree with me on that point, and that's okay. I don't think that it is a salvation issue, even though some people will strongly disagree with me. Our salvation is based on what Christ did. Full stop. And just to be clear, I do not think that we can manufacture the love to God and love to man that is required. That is also a gift of grace. I have seen it at work in my own life. God has changed my life and allowed me to love the person that hurt me the most in the whole world. Not just love them, but not even be able to find resentment or bitterness toward them. That love is not of human origin, and it is beautiful. So God is working in me to be able to love like him, and as Paul so eloquently put it, love fulfills the law. If you got all the way to the end, put a green heart in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what I've shared. If you think I'm wrong, that's okay. Feel free to articulate a reason why. Don't just say, wrong. Let's have a civil discussion about it. And if you like the video, please like, share, and follow.